News.mc on Monaco Info is brought to you by Monaco Legend Properties. Our exclusive interview with the personalities making the Principality.
My name is John Velissarios. I'm a consultant and advisor. I am originally from Canada, from Montreal. I was born there and grew up there and educated there. Also worked there for a number of years. And at the age of 27, I left Canada and moved to Europe. I did the usual educational system in Canada, but then I ended up studying electronics. I then went into computer science, and then I did a graduate degree in cryptography after that. A bit more specialized, and it also allowed me to do very interesting things afterwards in my career. I had many little jobs when I was growing up. I did a lot of things. I guess the first professional job that I had was working in software development. It was working with an aerospace company in Canada, in Montreal. So working with the flight simulators and a variety of different engineering sort of projects. It was a fantastic experience for me because it introduced me to many different things, from air traffic control to flight simulation, and sort of a technologist's dream, I think. So it was a very good experience. When I moved to London, I moved in 1997, so many years ago now. I worked for Pricewaterhouse at the time, so I joined Pricewaterhouse and became PricewaterhouseCoopers afterwards. I spent 6 years there in a risk management group focusing on information security. So again, very technical topic, but I was working a lot with financial institutions, many banks, traveled a lot, did a lot of very interesting things during that time, and then afterwards I joined Accenture. I work with many central banks around the world on the topic of digital currency. So that's my role. That's what I do a lot of other things, but that's my key sort of role, especially in the digital assets. Now stablecoins are a big topic, but the CBDC topic, the central bank digital currency topic, is a big area. It's an area that I've spent over a decade developing and building out. It has positioned me very well to be advising others around the world on this very big topic that'll take many years to implement. And so for us, for myself and for the work that I do, it's very easy to do it remotely for most of the time. And then when I need to be with clients, I travel and visit with them and do workshops with them and things like that. So it's a perfect role to do in a place like Monaco. It's a very interesting topic as well to develop further. When you look at the digital euro, which is being announced by Christine and Lagarde and from the ECB and sort of the plans that they have on rolling it out, it's a big topic. It will affect Europe in a very big way, and the European banks, consumers, and so on, and the merchants and the economy as a whole. I think people haven't realized the impact of this, I think, and including the banks as well. There will be a lot more work that needs to be done to understand and embed it into the economy, into society, and then how we pay each other and do things. We see also the less reliance on the dollar as a reserve currency. I think it's a big topic as well, and it's being discussed daily now, and that's the role I think that the euro as well can play in the global economy as a result of the utility factor of a digital euro. This whole topic covers economics, geopolitics, finance, technology, and also how we interact with money as well on a day-to-day basis. So very interesting to see how things develop further. And that whole education process behind it is a big part of the rollout of these things. Just like chip and pin was, just like these kind of innovations that get rolled out when we had credit cards in the past. Now you have the chip and pin and the PayWave stuff as well. So it'll be part of the rollout of this, the education process. It's key. When I started working in this area, it was in 2013. And I thought at the time that things would be implemented and rolled out in a few years' time. That was more than 10 years ago. And I think what we're seeing is sort of these things take time to develop. It's very obvious that, first of all, you need to understand the technology and the innovation, but then also to develop a number of the use cases for it. How can you implement it? How can you use it effectively? It's not just doing it for technology's sake. It has to solve real-world problems. And I think what we're seeing is that we're realizing how the kind of problems that this technology can solve, and we're seeing how it can be rolled out and implemented. So now you take a look at all of the announcements like the digital euro that's coming out. That's been a project that's been running for many, many years. I worked on this many years ago. It's interesting to see how some are adopting it, some are still observing it, some are saying no to it. And there's a whole variety of different sort of perspectives that they've taken on this. We are in the very beginning of this stage. If we, look 20, 30 years in the future, this is an inevitability. We see how, things like cryptocurrency has played a role and how people are using it now, and stable coins and CBDCs also are, being rolled out and sort of launched into the market. So these are inevitable innovations that we will have to live with in the future. Right now, I think we are still at the very, very early stages of it in the grand scheme of things, even though things may seem more advanced. I think they have to innovate, right? I think at the end of the day, it's like any technology innovation. Computers, internet, mobile phones, the banks adapted and also developed things that allowed them to offer to their clients and to innovate and pivot away from the traditional things that were done before. I think banks will have to continue to do this. They will have to develop new services and offerings that meet the needs of the marketplace. I don't think they're dying, but because they provide very specific services to the market, lending primarily, and other things that are capital markets, investments, and so on. But the traditional format of money and the way people interact with money, I think, will change and inevitably change. AI has been around for a while, I think, in terms of the technology behind it, and also the advancements behind it have been accelerating at pace. I think it's solving some very specific problems. I think that people are using it every day now, and I think it's becoming part of our day-to-day interaction with technology, and also with a number of things that we're sort of inquiring about and developing stuff and things like that. I think it will have a tremendous impact on society. I think it's difficult to say how it will change our day-to-day life. That's difficult to say right now. It's clear that there are a lot of things that it will positively affect them. There are also some negative dimensions to this. And I think AI, like any technology, will have to be sort of implemented in a responsible way. And I think the challenge we have now is we don't know how to responsibly sort of manage it. And I think that's the biggest concern I think people have. Do we do things without the controls, without the boundaries, without the checks? Do we let things in autopilot run? I think things like that are the scary parts of AI. I think clearly there are positive benefits for how it can help us and help society in general, but I think it's how we balance it. It's like any technology, any innovation, we need to be able to sort of contain it and constrain it and manage it in the right way. The challenge, of course, is that countries and companies and so on, it's a race for them. Who can build a better AI system to do the most things at the end of the day? And I think that's where it can run sort of into dangerous hotspots, I think, which we need to be very careful about. It helps people, but it doesn't replace them. I think especially in those kind of roles, that's where the fully automated AI systems become a little bit scary, because they can hallucinate and make up things, right? And I think that's the challenge for a lot of, relying too much on this technology. Yes, it can help because you can, of course, accelerate your thinking. You put a number of prompts in, accelerates the thinking, puts everything down, but you need to know what you're looking at. And the expert needs to be the one that looks at these things and says, this is okay, this is not okay, and so on. The production of deliverables is good from that perspective, but it cannot be fully automated. I think we need to be the ones that make sure that it's correct. And I think that's where the biggest challenge lies. We see sort of reports that have been written and then have been almost fully AI generated, and you can use AI to check whether it's been AI generated, which is interesting, but it cannot be left entirely on its own. You need to be, as an expert, as a specialist, or as a certified professional or whatever, you need to be looking at what it's telling you to make sure that it is right. I mean, I think that's the dangerous thing about this sort of technology and innovation, is that it can make up things to support its own argument. And when you challenge it, it says, oh, no, maybe I corrected, you're right. It's not 100% certain that it can point to artifacts, facts that have happened. It's one thing when you're reading it in a report, it's one thing, but when you start relying on it, legal cases, or for something that requires a degree of professional certification or a degree of professionalism behind it, then it's problematic, of course. I see the benefits of this technology, I think, in terms of metaverse and augmented reality systems for specific industrial, medical applications, I think, and for scientific applications. I think those things, it makes perfect sense. I think because, even telemedicine and things like that can help people in remote areas, or things where you don't want to send a human down in a dangerous spot. You can do things with these kind of augmented tools and so on. And I've had, the VR goggles as well, and I used it a few times, but never really took to it. My son liked it a little bit better, but he still, even he didn't even, use it a lot more. So I think people, appreciate the human interaction. I think when you start putting goggles on and doing things, they have to be for specific reasons. Otherwise, it's not going to be for everyday life, I think. So the take-up of that has been maybe not as much as people had anticipated or would have liked, certain companies and so on. It's interesting to see how much also that has progressed. I think it'll be part of the technology of the future, but I don't see people living in this VR, virtual reality, metaverse bubbles. I don't think that's something that is a reality, I think. I came to Monaco many years ago. I came for a conference many years ago. I was very, very positively impressed, but it was, I think almost 20 years ago, to be honest, a very long time ago. And then in the last short while, I came 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago, because I was working on a project here. I came a few times. I liked it a lot, actually. And I was offered a role to come to Monaco, so I took it. That didn't work out, but at the same time, my own interests and everything else that I was pursuing and wanted to pursue outside of my sort of other job that I had became a reality. So I left my big consulting job and started my small consulting job, and I moved to Monaco as well as a result of that. And I think it was I came for a couple of reasons. The first one was, I guess, it was time for a change. My family, my kids had moved, out of the house. They started studying and working abroad back in London, and my wife and I said, well, we try something a little bit different. So we came here and we decided to move here and set ourselves up in Monaco. We wanted to be in Europe, so that was one of the things that for us was very important. The sea, we always live near somewhere where there's water, so we love the sea. The Mediterranean is beautiful, so that was also very important for us. Mountains are very close by, also very important because, growing up in Canada and we had a lot of mountains there as well, so we liked the combination of both. The French language, which was interesting for us because we come from Quebec, right? So there's a slight difference on the accent, but we were very, very well received here in English or French or what, and I think that for us was a very, very good thing. And the food is fantastic. The environment is fantastic. It's a safe place to live, and nowadays very important. In addition to that, it just felt very comfortable being here. So coming here, visiting was one thing, but once we started living here, we realized at the beginning it's always, you never really know, but it became more and more comfortable living here. It feels like it is a great place to live, feels like a great place to live, it is a great place to live. And coming back here is always a very comforting thing. It's close to everything you want to. I mean, from an international travel perspective, Nice Airport, you can go anywhere quickly. Most of the work that I do is outside anyway, so whether you're on a plane from London or whether you're on a plane from Nice to the next location, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing for us. So travel is convenient from Monaco, Nice, basically, as well. I don't see any other place to be at the moment. You never know, but our plan is to stay here for as long as we can.
That's all for today. Thank you for watching News.mc, your English rendezvous on Monaco Info. Discover more interviews and stories on our websites, news.mc and monacoinfo.com. This show was brought to you by Monaco Legend Properties.